another Wednesday, it's another News Extra. For the benefit of newcomers to the program, it's the time we bring you news with the extra touch. Tonight is not different as we have a variety of stories ranging from governance, politics, health, economy, security, social welfare, sports and much more. We start tonight from the seat of government where the president has just come back from a successful outing at the Paris Peace Summit. You won't be wrong if you give him the Nigerian welcome, Baba Oyoyo. Of course, the Federal Executive Council continued its Wednesday sitting with decisions to grow the economy and improve infrastructure. We have interesting stories on infrastructural development, progress in agriculture, and of course, the upsurge of women in politics, the Kano experience. Are you one of those who will rush in and present himself as surety to those you hardly know? Well, we have a story that will teach you a lesson. Well, let me not bore you with details of the package. It's better to just let you have it. So, sit back, relax and enjoy. It's News Extra, and I am yours truly, Fatima Abbas Hassan. You're welcome. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Abuja after a 5-day official visit to France. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that the president was received on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by the Permanent Secretary State House, Jalal Arabi, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, and other senior government officials. While in the French capital, President Buhari, accompanied by the governors of Katsina, Ekiti, and Adamawa states, joined over 60 other world leaders to chart a new course towards addressing global challenges at the first edition of the Paris Peace Forum. The forum was organized by the French government in collaboration with some non-governmental organizations. The special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, described Nigeria's participation at the event as critical towards achieving national aspirations.
Opportunity for Nigeria through our president to let the world know what we are doing, particularly in the area of anti-corruption, and to prick the conscience of the world on certain things that need to be done for the corruption war to be won. World leaders had the option to speak on any topic they wanted. Our president opted for how to stop illicit flows and win the anti-corruption war. And he gave a number of prescriptions how just sentencing corrupt people to jail terms does not seem to cut the ice again. He rather said you must seize their assets and you must even go to corrupt areas of the world and take the fight to them, like corrupt enclaves where they help people to beat the system. There were a number of prescriptions that our president made on winning the corruption and stopping its illicit flows that should be food for thought for the rest of the world.
What can you tell people that are saying that they have not seen our president in the group picture taken by world leaders at the event?
Yes, there were 2 events in Paris. One was 100 years of the armistice, 100 years of marking the end of the First World War. Now, Nigeria was not part of that. That was why our president was not in that group, because Nigeria was not deemed to have been part of the First World War, though we contributed troops under the West African Frontiers Force. But we were not seen as one of the independent countries that contributed troops to the First World War. That was why our president was not in the group photograph of world leaders. But he was fully part of the second outing. There were 2 outings in one, the Paris Peace Forum. So he was fully part of that.
Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina there. And back home, with the dry season setting in, contractors handling work on federal roads across the country are expected to move into sites for the continuation of road projects affected by the rains. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports on this and other deliberations at Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting.
Minister Babatunde Fashola, while briefing the press at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, says the Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing secured 2 memoranda for the completion of the Iloni-Umuana to Kaba Road project. The other road project, as it says, is that of Odukpani Junction to Akpet Central in Cross River State, a 73 kilometers road at a cost of 14.014 billion naira.
During the rainy season, and we've identified roads that have been damaged as a result of the rainy season. So subject to funding now, we have a plan. This is what is done everywhere to repair, rehabilitate, reconstruct over the next 7 months.
Minister of State for Aviation, Hadis Rika, says his ministry also secured approval for the purchase of a vital equipment for the nation's airports.
The user department is NAMA, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, and of course this is a very important instrument for us to be able to operate in poor weather conditions and to be able to take the planes down to the center line and threshold of the runway.
Minister of Interior Abdurrahman Dambazo says Council approved 270 million naira plus for the purchase of arms and ammunition to secure the nation's prisons.
One of the major shortcomings within that prison was lack of adequate arms and ammunition.
The Ministry of Environment presented a memo to the Council seeking assent for the ratification of the Doha Amendment Protocol concerning climate change.
The Doha Amendment to the protocol is essentially to get developed nations who are industrialized, who are leading in the production of gaseous materials into the atmosphere, to take responsibility and to assist countries like Nigeria who are developing and who are not producing any emissions significantly, but are suffering the consequences.
The Wednesday meeting was chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in the State House. Jude Onifade, NTA News.
It is often said that security is everybody's business. Now, this, of course, presupposes every government's commitment towards ensuring the protection of life and property by tackling all challenges that threaten peace and stability. It is indicative of this that the House of Representatives at Wednesday's plenary treated 5 issues which are all security-related. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali gives us the details.
Plenary commenced with the tabling of matters of urgent public importance from Representative Kingsley Chinda and Uchechukwu Namobi, who brought to the attention of the House alleged extrajudicial killings of 2 people in their federal constituencies of River State by security personnel.
The incident is one too many in cases of extrajudicial killings and daily take place.
The trend of killings of drivers and commercial motorists, even those who do the cack and pep, by men of the Nigerian, this group of irresponsible men of the Nigerian police, over the payment of bribe at checkpoints.
After debate by lawmakers, the House mandated its Committee on Army and that of Police Affairs to separately investigate the 2 alleged killings that occurred during a raid on a restaurant and the other at a police checkpoint. Another motion adopted by the House was the need to curb latest trend of kidnappings in parts of Adamawa State, as requested by Representative Sadiq Ibrahim.
Urge the chairman of the 2 local governments to collaborate with Nigeria police, traditional rulers and other residents of the areas to reinforce vigilante groups with a view to complementing the efforts of the police in bringing this dangerous trend to an end.
Next came a motion from Representative Emmanuel Ekong from Akwa Ibom State, which urged the Presidential Amnesty Office to absorb youths into the amnesty program to prevent a resurgence of youth restiveness.
Youths have the capacity of positively influence the society if their talents are properly harnessed, as they have graduates even among them.
In the meantime, the House has directed its Committee on Police Affairs to carry out an investigation on recent promotions in the Nigeria police force to ascertain whether or not such promotions were done in accordance with constitutional provisions and general guidelines of the Nigeria police. Due to some challenges with the communication system in the chamber, plenary was adjourned to Tuesday, November 20th. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Now, the need to eliminate bureaucracy in the release of funds through the conventional means, which stifled the maintenance of federal roads across the country, led to the establishment of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency in the year 2002. 17 years after, the red tapeism has persisted, and the Senate Committee on FEMA, during its oversight visit to the agency, called on the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to reverse the trend. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo has the details.
The Federal Road Maintenance Agency defended its 2018 budget before the National Assembly Committee on FEMA. 6 months after the commencement of the budget implementation, the Senate Committee visited the agency, demanding a breakdown of its budget performance so far. The managing director of FEMA, Nuruddin Rafindadi, provided the needed information.
Releases of 2.272 for the capital and an unreleased amount of 30.448. The amount utilized so far is 2.012 billion for the capital, which is almost all of the releases so far. You will note that the releases is below 10% of the current year appropriation.
The presentation indicates that the agency's 2018 budget implementation stood at 6% as of November 14, 2018, and that statistics left much to be desired by the Senate Committee.
Mr. Chairman, we'll have to look at ways where we can assist the agency and ensure that monies are released quickly for the maintenance of Nigerian roads.
Presently, there is a law in the PPRA Act that provides that a certain percentage of the money spent on petroleum products in this country be remitted to the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. My own take on this thing is to call on the Federal Ministry of Finance and the CBN to immediately look into ways of ensuring that the provisions of our extant laws on the funding of this agency are implemented without question.
Both parties also saw the need to hasten the maintenance of all damaged portions of roads across the country to avert road disasters during the end-of-year holiday period. In Abuja, Ignatius Onkwo, NTA News.
An opportunity is being provided for electricity consumers to decide who supplies them their domestic and industrial energy needs. This is following the introduction of new policies that allow individuals and small power generation companies to come in and complement the big players in the business of generation and distribution. Now, these are some of the areas which the Buhari administration is focusing on in its determination to stabilize the power sector for national development. Usman Aliyu takes up the story from here.
Until September 2017, people of Pakao, a rural community in Kaduna State, only see electricity light in other towns, if at all there is available supply. That is now history. 100 homes in Pakao at the moment enjoy uninterrupted electricity, with their commercial activities served under the Renewable Energy Micro-Utility, a pilot program on rural electrification initiated by the federal government.
We appreciate, and this solar, we have enjoyed it because it's the light that we can give always.
This is one of the policies to provide more communities with stable and affordable electricity and also reducing pressure on the national grid.
We have meters installed in every home, whereby power consumed is paid for by the community in order to maintain the project. I think that's a very critical aspect of any project, maintenance and long life And this we aimed to deploy for this project, which we have.
This time also, investors are developing more confidence by injecting huge resources in the Nigeria's power sector, and the government delve into capacity development, providing better infrastructure to meet the targets of incremental, steady and uninterrupted power supply.
Now, about 30-something companies have applied for that eligible customer. They are mainly factories and industries. And they are connecting directly to their generation companies, saying, let's take our power direct, and they are going to TCN, carry the power to us, and we have told NEC, the disco that is affected by such a customer moving to Ijenku, put in a price compensation for him.
An average of 1,000 megawatt is being added to the grid since 2016, an achievement exceeding the plans which experts attribute to the reality of the Buhari administration's commitment.
Transmission capacity is now at 8,000. Distribution has gone up to about 5,200 maximum. So we all recognize that the challenge to get a better experience to consumers now is to raise the distribution while we keep raising transmission and distribution.
With the steps taken and the progress making, observers believe that Nigeria's history of electricity inefficiency will change for the better. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
We now take you to Nasarawa, the Lafia state capital. Now, 3 things happen when we dream. You can wake up and forget about the dream. You can wake up but continue living in the dream world. Or you can wake up and take steps to make your dream come true. Now, the third option is what the people of Nasarawa state chose to embark on. The Farurua Hydro project is one that began as a big dream in the mid-90s. The people in the 90s have kept the dream alive, and now things are looking up as the project has been taken over by the federal government. Our correspondent, Joshua Ojito, reports that with the Memorandum of Understanding for the takeover signed, sealed and delivered, it is just a matter of time before the taps start flowing with potable water and the farms too with irrigation platforms.
Cascading Farunrua waterfalls with source from the Jos Plateau is one of the highest in Africa at more than 150 meters than Victoria Falls of East Africa at 105. The nature's wonder has documented history in the 1950s when it was gazetted by the colonial administration for commercial purposes. It is Farunrua, a Hausa connotation alluding to its purity. Under a previous administration, plans to develop the falls and its catchment area for hydroelectric dam was not actualized. But it is no longer a lost opportunity as the long-standing dream of the people of Nasarawa State to harness the full potentials of the Farunrua project is being followed up with action by the Buhari administration. With the signing of the dotted lines, the federal government is to construct 15 kilometers access road to the project site, an earth dam with a reservoir capacity of about 73 million cubic meters and spillway. In addition, the hydropower component that will generate about 20 megawatts of electricity is to be developed as part of the agreement. More than 10 communities are expected to benefit from the regional water supply scheme and facilities for irrigation at the downstream.
We are happy for this development and we will support it fully.
The engagement stakeholders say is an affirmation of the true reflection of the government towards completion of abandoned projects for the common good of society.
We have engaged a consultant to reevaluate and update on the cost of the project and in the process of awarding contract for its completion.
My feeling, which represents the feeling of the entire people of Nasarawa State, is that of excitement, is that of appreciation, is that of happiness that today we are having collaboration and partnership with the federal government on something that will add value to the quality of life of people in Nasarawa, especially the ordinary man.
Finding shows that with funding in 2018 fiscal estimates, work will soon commence on the project. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Well, Christmas is creeping in on us. If you are the type that must eat rice, rest assured there is homegrown rice in abundance. We'll tell you about this when we return after the break. Join us again.
Line with the continuous pursuit of good governance and national unity, Good Governance Ambassadors of Nigeria, with the support of the Presidency, presents the unveiling and launching of Buhari Unity Band, coming up on Thursday, 15th November 2018. Venue, Conference Center, State House Presidential Villa, Abuja. Time, 9:30 a.m. Special guest of honor, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Chairman, His Excellency Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu Jagaban Bogu. National Leader, All Progressives Congress, APC. Chief Launcher, Engineer Prince Arthur Eze. Co-Launcher, His Excellency Senator Abdullahi Adamu, former Governor, Nasarawa State. Host, Good Governance Ambassadors of Nigeria, Gogan.
Team huddle. But we lost. Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Since 1971, Nigeria's foremost human capital development institution, the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has been at the forefront of equipping Nigerians with skills for national growth. Today's ITF has repositioned and refocused its programs, forging new partnerships locally and internationally to effectively deliver on its mandate. With 37 area offices and 5 industrial skills training centers across the country, ITF is pushing to reduce unemployment by providing relevant technical and vocational skills for employability and entrepreneurship in diverse trades and crafts. Whether you're a public or private organization seeking to improve the skills of your personnel or an individual looking to acquire skills that will increase your chances of employment or even to help start your own business, today's ITF has a program for you. Speak to us today. Contact our area offices nationwide or visit our website www.itf.gov.ng. ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Want to know what's coming, guys? The free beach ball! I guess I'd better start again. Oh, here we go, everybody. Free beach ball! Yes, guys, there's a free beach ball in every carton of Capri Sun. Get a carton, get a ball. It's time to play some more. Way!
Capri Sun, the taste of fun.
The House of Representatives Committee on Federal Road Safety Commission is conducting a one-day public hearing on a bill for an act to amend the Federal Road Safety Commission Act, Cap 49, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. Date, Monday, 26th November 2018. Venue, House of Representatives New Building, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. The following persons and organizations are invited to make presentations: Dangote Group of Companies, Innocent Vehicle Manufacturing Company Limited, Federal Road Safety Commission, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Nigeria Police, Ministry of Justice, heads of various government parastatals, all automobile manufacturing companies, and road users organizations, Mr. Kolawole Shufola, amongst others. Persons, private or corporate organizations should submit their memoranda in 30 hard and 1 soft copy to the clerk, room HB 44, House of Representatives Wing, on or before Tuesday, 20th November 2018. Honorable Dr. Abubakar A. Yunusa, Chairman, Announcer.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket.
future in our hands. UBI, Africa's global.
The National Council for Arts and Culture, Nigeria, cordially invites you to the 11th International Arts and Crafts Expo, Abuja, INAC 2018. Theme, Networking Nigerian Crafts to the World. Date, 17th to 24th November 2018. Venue, FCT Exhibition Pavilion, beside International Conference Center, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Official opening ceremony, 19th November 2018. Time, 12 noon. Chairman, Alhaji Muhammad Musa Bello, Honorable Minister of the FCT, Special Guest of Honor, Sam Nda Isaiah, Publisher, Leadership Newspapers, Mother of the Day, Hajia Aisha Abubakar, Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Royal Father of the Day, His Royal Highness Alhaji Shehu Idris, Emir of Zazao, Chief Host Alhaji Lai Muhammad, Honorable Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism, Host and Announcer Otumba Olusegun Rushewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture.
Thank you for joining us on News Extra, reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Now, back to land. Green Revolution, Operation Feed the Nation. You remember these programs? Yes, they were past government programs and giving agriculture the pride of place in growing the nation's gross domestic product, GDP. Now, the good old days, you would say, that many say is fast becoming a reality, with the increase in rice production to guarantee food security, create wealth, and for export. Over now to Talatu Ezirike.
In the 60s to late 80s, agriculture was the nation's major revenue earner, especially with the granule pyramid, cocoa and rubber production. This, analysts say, was affected by the advent of oil and subsequently by policy somersault and bad governance. The narratives are being tackled to revamp the agricultural sector that is yielding results in rice production in recent times.
If you want to make money too, join the league of people who make rice so that you too will be among the people who are smiling to the bank.
Going by the records, virtually all states of the Federation are producers of rice farmed almost twice yearly, with increased milling machines and enabling environment to boost rice production. The success story, many say, has saved the country more than $200 billion annually from importation, strengthened states' commercial synergy, and created jobs along the value chain of the commodity.
All the elements of a revolution are in place. Critical mass, developing confidence, enveloping, so that everyone says, oh, so this is what we have been missing out. And countries of the world now are beginning to acknowledge that, oh, so when Nigeria said it's going to do something, we better believe them, because they will do it. And this, the rice story, has shown that in President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, because every stakeholder has been mobilized, and this linked to our food security quest.
There are, however, concerns over what people see as international blackmail and wrong connotation to rice revolution. As a result of the cluster development initiative that the Anchor Borrower Program is supporting, the country is on the right track for sustainability.
We are very ready, to ensure food sustainability in Nigeria. So we don't see any problem at all with rice production.
Well, analysts are advocating concerted efforts in consolidating on present gains in revamping the agricultural sector. After all, land is a free gift of nature that should be properly harnessed for effective results. Talatu Ezirike, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Talatu. Now, still talking agriculture. Africa is believed to have the greatest number of cocoa farmers, as it produces about 70% of the world cocoa. Nigeria produces only about 250 tons annually. Idare is one of the leading cocoa producing towns in Nigeria. But as Olubukola Aduon reports, the fortunes of the Asian town are adversely affected by the lull in cocoa world trade.
peaceful, sleepy, hilly ancient town of Idonre is a community of mostly farmers lying 20 kilometers from Akure, the Ondo state capital. The famous youths of Idonre harbor some of the most productive cocoa plantations in the whole of southwest Nigeria, and Idonre town has some of the relics of the Yo, where cocoa was near gold in value. The Idonre landscape is today dotted with buildings which may not worth much in terms of architectural value in today's world, but were not only built from the proceeds of cocoa by cocoa merchants, many of them long gone. It is indeed on record that men and women have made fortunes either as cocoa farmers, produce buyers, or marketers. The fortunes of cocoa farmers have since fallen. Why not? A typical cocoa tree in Idonre is old, low-yielding, and pest-infested. Aderemi Ogundipe belongs to the old and new generations of cocoa farmers. He says the business has seen better days.
Many people want to go to farm and do the work again because they are looking for another business that will be fast more than cocoa.
Presently, if you go into the farm, you will see some insects eating our cocoa. The government will help us to look for medicine to curb these insects. Secondly, the price is not stable. The price should be stable like olden days.
There is no enough of chemicals that they can use to be attacking all those diseases.
The federal government says it is not unmindful of pest infestation experienced by cocoa farmers. To this end, the Buhari administration has provided about 7,000 agrochemicals for farmers in Ondo State.
What we advise the farmers to do now, that's what we call integrated pest management. One, they should use cultural practices. Cultural practices like pruning, they make sure they weed on time, and then they make sure that they plant hybrid crop that will withstand those pests and diseases.
There is, however, a ray of hope with the recently launched of Cocoa Revolution by the Ondo State government, where high-yielding varieties cocoa seeds were distributed to farmers across the state, and also deliberate efforts to attract youths to the business were made.
A lot still needs to be done. The encouragement needs to be given. Then a lot of things needs to be subsidized in order to encourage people to go into agriculture, because there are a lot of factors that are not really encouraging people. When you talk about the issue of climate change, is a real challenge.
This is Itaolorun, a village few kilometers away from Idonre town. About 40% of cocoa seedlings produced across this axis come from this village. It is expected that with the current efforts, the yields of cocoa from Itaolorun and indeed the entire Ondo State will increase. From Idonre local government area of Ondo State, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
Now to politics. The clamor for women to get more involved in politics and governance has not been mere rhetoric after all. It is a record that more women are turning to politics. If you doubt this, just take a look at Kano State, where we are told women there might spring a surprise or two because they are changing the political tide against all odds. If not, how else would you explain that there are 7 women contesting for the office of governor alone on different platforms? Yahanasu Hassan Barrow says this is considered a litmus test for one of the most populous states of the Federation in gender sensitivity.
Kano State has more than 5 million eligible voters expected to exercise their franchise in forthcoming general elections. There are 1,247 candidates contesting under the platform of 91 political parties. Out of this number, 54 are vying for governorship posts, among them 7 female candidates. The political parties that yielded female candidates include AD, DPC, RBNP, NUP, CAP, FDP and UPP.
Before now, it is unthinkable for female politicians to seek for any elective post, even at what level. But now, with the wind of change blowing across the political arena, there are 7 gubernatorial candidates who will contest in 2019 general elections.
Hajia Maimuna Muhammad is among those seeking election into office of the governor of Kano State.
We women are always left back. If I succeed, I want education, health, roads, and empowerment for our youth.
This is the first time this number of women are showing interest in the office of the governor in the state.
Women being more pathetic and down to earth, and their personal needs are not as much as what the men need. I think if they do succeed, I think they'll do better.
The state resident electoral commissioner Risco Arabushehu said women are also key players in the country's next year's electioneering process.
You know, we started with the display of the information, personal particulars of the candidates that we received from the INEC headquarters. And these forms were the ones submitted by the political parties and their leadership at the national level.
Looking forward for 2019 general elections to see whether among these female politicians will unseat the incumbent governor of Kano State. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
Well, why not? After all, what a man can do, a woman can do better. Still talking politics, the Buhari campaign organization is expanding its frontiers through team building and mobilization of critical stakeholders in Rivers and Bayelsa states to increase awareness among the electorate for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019. To actualize the key objective, the national coordinating officers of the organization have inaugurated the Rivers and Bayelsa chapters of the body to drive the process in the 2 states. Kingsley Amajiri was there and now reports.
With the inauguration, the coordinators are set to embark on ward, local government and state campaigns to mobilize support for the president beyond party lines for the 2019 general elections. The group leadership is also concerned about good governance, security, economic stability, development and empowerment of the citizens, indices which they said are on course under President Buhari's administration.
In fact, we are going around to inaugurate our coordinators at all levels, right from the polling unit level to the ward level to local government and state. And the purpose is for first mobilization, second enlightenment, and for people to know what President Muhammadu Buhari has done for this past 3.5 years. That has to do with fight against corruption, insurgency, empowerment, and so many other laudable programs of Mr. President.
Ahead of the formal kickoff of political campaigns in Nigeria, in line with the INEC election timetable, the Buhari campaign organization is bracing to the task ahead.
The virtue of taking this poster, posterity will judge us well. To say that President Muhammadu Buhari is the man called 2019.
The key objective of the group is the return of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019 using the PVCs in a credible electoral process. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
In the meantime, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has thrown its weight behind the ongoing global media attention and efforts to check the proliferation of fake news as Nigeria gears up for campaigns for the 2019 elections. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Larry Issa Onilu, says the consequences of fake news are dire, accusing the leading opposition party, the PDP, of continuous deployment of fake news as a focal campaign strategy for the 2019 elections. The APC is therefore advising the PDP to engage more on serious issues of health, education, the economy, security, corruption and other development issues instead of crowding the social media with fake news and infertile conspiracy theories. Now, are you one of those who is quick to stand as surety for an accused person in court without a proper knowledge of or knowing the identity of the person you are standing in for. Now, this story might interest you, as a sitting senator and 2 others are likely to forfeit 100 million naira each if they fail to produce the defendant in their custody in the next 6 months. Dele Atumbi tells us more.
The 3 sureties who stood in for Nnamdi Kanu are Senator Inyinaya Abaribe, Emmanuel Echelon, and Tochukwu Uchendo. Though one of the sureties was in court, the other 2, including Senator Abaribe, were absent. During the resumed hearing of the case, the sureties failed to produce Nnamdi Kanu in court against their bail bond. The prosecution counsel, Magaji Labaran, told the court that the sureties should show cause for their failure to produce the defendant. Counsel to Senator Abaribe, Sukuma Ume, SAN, pleaded with the court that his client went on oversight function, a situation which the court frowned at. The court also frowned at the inability of the sureties to produce the defendant in court to answer to the charge before him. Justice Binta Njako explained that suretyship is an agreement between the court and the sureties to always produce the defendant in their custody whenever his attention is needed in court. It is in the light of this that Justice Njako ordered that the sureties should make deposit of their bail bond of 100 million naira each to the court within the next 2 months. This interim order will last for just 6 months, and failure of the sureties to produce Nnamdi Kanu before the court will lead to a consequential order of forfeiture.
The order given by the court for the sureties to deposit the sum of the bail bond is a fair one, and as you are all aware again, 2 months is given within which that money should be deposited.
Because there is need to inform this court properly. Already a suit has been ignited on the basis of that unfounded information. And so we don't want this court to throw that line of going with unfounded information. Yes.
Nnamdi Kanu is standing trial for treasonable felony. The case has been adjourned to 28th of March 2019. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Ogoni cleanup. Like Nigerians would ask, how far? We will tell you about this, plus some business news and empowerment of the internally displaced persons. That's the outlook when we return after the break. Stay with us.
My husband has a big interview, but his shirts aren't cleaning well.
Don't panic, Ngozi. Just use Good Mama. Good Mama's extra cleaning power removes all dirt, leaving a wonderful scent. Look, whites are white, colors are bright, and extra fresh.
Now in a 1 kg pack.
He got the job?
What do you think?
Obvious.
Good Mama knows best.
Kende suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Activate your life, be who you want to be. Yeah, yeah. Time to get active. Yes, the time is now.
Start an active life with the power of vegetables and fruits. Chivita Active. Be active. Do more.
Your perfect family is under threat by germs. Infectious diseases are now the world's biggest killer of adults and children. These infectious diseases are caused by germs. They are everywhere. An average human being comes in contact with over 1 million germs daily in unclean water, dirty surfaces, in the toilets, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes. Germs can cause deadly diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, flu, and cough. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 cup full for surface cleaning in your bathing water, in your laundry water, for first aid to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Introducing Dettol Antiseptic Liquid in Sachet for only 40 naira.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
We're glad to have you back with us on News Extra. Now, equities market sentiment closes on a negative as federal government plans to raise oil output in 2019. Details with Musa Abubakar on Business News.
Hello, it's good to have you join us on Business News. Trading on Nigeria's equities market closed Wednesday's session on a bearish note, with the all-share index shedding 0.14% to close at 2,108.92 basis points and market capitalization at 11.72 trillion naira. 229 million shares worth 2.4 billion naira were traded in 2,726 deals. FBN Holdings, Diamond and Access Bank occupied the top trade chart. Nigeria Breweries, NEM Insurance PLC and Cement Company of Northern Nigeria topped the gainers table, while Interna, Flour Mill and Zenith Bank topped losers table. Nigeria is to increase daily oil production to 1.8 million in 2019. It will also raise its condensate output by 0.5 million barrels per day during the period. The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Baru, told Reuters that the country currently produces 1.6 million barrels per day of oil and 0.4 million barrels per day of condensate. According to him, the state-owned oil agency is concluding talks to consortia to revamp the nation's moribund refineries to reduce fuel imports. That concludes Business News. News Extra continues.
Thank you, Musa. Now, many people like myself get excited when good things are done to some of our brothers and sisters, especially those who have fallen on hard times through no fault of theirs. That's why the next story for me is exciting. Now, the story is about the empowerment of victims of Boko Haram insurgency in Yobe State. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has once again risen to the challenge and presented the displaced persons with materials that have placed the means to a livelihood right into their hands, as Usaid Mohammed Isa now tells us.
The consignment, which the first phase comprises of starter packs on soap making for indigent women, generator set for irrigation farming, sewing machines, among other empowerment tools, were distributed for the affected victims of insurgency in Yobe with the aim of restoring their means of livelihood. Flagging off the distribution, the Federal Commissioner of National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Umar Farouk, said the motive is to once again preserve the dignity of victims of insurgency and encourage them to become self-reliant.
National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons recognizes and applauds the consistent efforts of the government of President Muhammad Buhari to bring in an end to insurgency in the Northeast and Nigeria at large.
I'm happy that these items have been targeted to the returnees and IDPs living in host communities.
Damatu Hussein Mohammed Isa, NTA News.
Now, skills acquisition is fundamental to poverty reduction and economic development of Nigeria. To this end, the new Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD, has trained over 250 vulnerable persons on various skills in Nasarawa State. Omenka Amarachiku reports that the training will encourage them to be self-reliant and live a decent life.
Abasima Aban, who lives in Kodakwe village in Nasarawa State, is one of the beneficiaries of the skill acquisition. He believes that this training will enhance their productivity and increase employment opportunity in Nigeria.
I'm a stylist. I learn how to do woman work,
based on that's what my mind tells me to do. I don't depend on government. I don't depend on people. I like to do something practical.
I will utilize it very well. I will be tying myself and be tying for people to make money.
The organizers of the training intends to build capacity of the unemployed to enable them contribute meaningfully to the socio-economic development of the nation.
Nepal, we are trying to empower the downtrodden, the hawkers, the vulnerable, in line with the empowerment program of President Buhari.
The training, which will be replicated in other rural areas across the state, is expected to improve human capital development. In Abuja, Umenka Marachuku, NTA News.
The federal government is making frantic efforts to fulfill its promise of implementing the United Nations Environmental Programme UNEP report on Ogoni cleanup. To this end, contract letters for the remediation of the land are to be issued next week. Minister of State Environment Ibrahim Usman Jibril stated this while discussing the update on Ogoni cleanup on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria. Mrijana to Adam Said completes the report.
The federal government flag off of the United Nations Environmental Programme report on the Ogoni cleanup in June 2016 was greeted with accolades as residents of the area, and indeed other Nigerians were happy that the much-awaited dream of Niger Delta region is becoming a reality. Minister of State Environment Ibrahim Usman Jibril said work is already in progress as federal government has reached the point of no return on the project.
We've reached an advanced stage since after the flag off 2 years ago. The entire exercise is a cleaning exercise to free the entire environment from the hydrocarbons that have contaminated this area for the past 40 years.
He said the project document has made adequate provision for the involvement of local content, pointing out that there is no project as huge as the Ogoni cleanup at the moment. Chairman Senate Committee on FEMA, who represents River South East at the Senatorial District, appreciated the effort of the federal government towards ensuring the success of the Ogoni clean-up.
The point I would like to make, and which I will emphasize and insist on, is that we cannot treat this project as just a federal procurement process. Yes, the need to have proper technical competence in order to be able to deliver on the expectations, not just of the locals, but of the international community in terms of what it's actually done, is important.
He urged the state government to be more involved in the project. In Abuja, Mrijana to Adam Said, NTA News.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration is set to create over 5,000 plots of land from the 4 new districts created in the Phase 4 South of the Federal Capital City. The Director, FCT Land Administration, Adamu Husseini Jibril, disclosed this in an interview with Shuaibu Onezi Yakubu. The report.
The 4 new districts include Mamusa North and East, Pafu North and South, which have already been designed based on the neighborhood concept. Director FCT Land Administration Adamu Husseini Jibril says the new districts will provide over 4,000 residentials and commercial plots, public institutions, as well as other facilities. He added that the Department of Urban and Regional Planning is presently undertaking a detailed surveying work of the districts in order to make them available for allocation to prospective property owners.
The administration has given approval for the creation of 4 new districts, where we'll have more than 5,000 plots that will be allocated, right? The survey and mapping are working on the surveying of those new districts. As soon as it's done, we will allocate those lands, as well as resolve a lot of local allocation issues that we inherited.
The director commended FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello for repositioning the Land Use and Allocation Committee for efficiency.
The constitution of the Land Use Allocation Committee, we have achieved a lot, because the committee, which is chaired by the permanent secretary, has all the technical departments, the directors, as members. where we resolve issues objectively.
He called on allottees of plots in the FCT to endeavor to pay their title bills, like the ground rents and premium charges, warning that non-payment of these bills for a period of 3 years can lead to revocation. Shuaibu Onozeyakubu, NTA News.
Are you a health buff? Well, the next segment will interest you. We have health and health-related stories. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Multi-Guinness is packed with B vitamins to fuel your greatness.
What's up?
His friends didn't come.
Hey, let's practice.
But you're going out.
Don't worry about me.
Nothing satisfies a mother more than seeing a child grow up. But I know as he sweats, he'll face the risk of germs which can cause skin irritation.
That's why you need the new best ever Dettol Cool. Its new advanced formulation with extra menthol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs and gives your family icy cool freshness.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Can your milk do this?
Can your milk do this? Mine can.
With Hollandia evaporated milk, your ice cream, custards, and variations of beverages taste pleasantly different. Hollandia evaporated milk. Life tastes different.
From the House of Chi.
Thank you for rejoining us. In realizing the objectives of the universal healthcare coverage, medical experts are key drivers. That is why they have converged on Lagos to disseminate and explore research findings for the purpose of influencing health policies for the benefit of Nigerians. Adiola Omonkive reports that this formed the crux of the International Scientific Conference by the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research in Lagos.
Nigerian Institute of Medical Research is looking into ways of achieving quality healthcare delivery in Nigeria in line with United Nations stipulations for universal health coverage. The 5th International Scientific Conference brought experts from within and outside the country discussing how research can address challenges posed by epidemics, diseases, and substance abuse among Nigerian youths. This is especially as Nigeria has shown some commitment towards sorting out these issues.
We are also currently a reference laboratory, national reference laboratory for HIV, for TB, and the last 2 years we have what they call International Standard Organization accreditation for our lab, which means that results from our lab is comparable to an international lab all over the world.
Professor Jeffrey Mfalele, speaking on building health research capacity for sustainable development, said research grows and transforms the economy as well as increase knowledge.
Currently, we're still at a stage of really coming up with the right legislative framework, but we are doing a number of things in support of universal health coverage.
Participants also called for effective funding of research and frowned at incessant strikes in the health sector.
The secret for researchers is to look for institutions that have goals that are similar to their interests.
Expectation from this conference is that research findings should be able to address the many challenges confronting the health sector in Nigeria. In Lagos, Adeola Omokive, NTA News.
Still on health, recent cancer studies say blacks are disproportionately affected by cancer globally. Now, to address this challenge, a group of medical researchers are brainstorming in Lagos to ensure that oncology clinical trials receive a boost in the country. John Adams tells us more.
People is a major issue, and the reason is not far-fetched. Statistics indicate that 70% of cancer cases recorded in low and middle-income countries are mostly among black people. Added to this, a study revealed that black men are 60% more likely to have prostate cancer than white men, and are most likely to be diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer than men of other races. Some experts attribute this to environmental factors, lifestyle, and inadequate access to medical facilities.
People around the world are showing that there are genetic as well as epigenetic factors that are predisposing blacks to cancer, and then also after a person acquires cancer, it becomes more aggressive.
Researchers such as Dr. Bodu Asalhia have been working intensely to find a cure for cancer, and critical to their work is the conduct of clinical trials.
The studies that propose to conduct a clinical trial at the time of application submission must include with the application a protection of human subjects section that describes all the human subjects components of the study. These have to be provided in quite a bit of detail.
Clinical trials need to be done properly. The facilities need to be up to standard, that we must follow ethical principles to ensure that those trials have ethical board approvals, particularly for side effects or adverse experiences.
Director General of National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control says clinical trials must be closely monitored to ensure safety and efficiency.
We are working together to ensure that the proper protocol, clinical protocol, is approved first by the local institution that is doing it, and then nationally by NAFDAC and NREC.
To effectively fight the burden of cancer in Nigeria, key players in the health sector say clinical trials for oncology need to be addressed holistically. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Now, we have agreed here, and in fact, it is a universal fact that health is wealth, and so any move to provide health care is equal to improving the wealth of the people. Therefore, we're safe to say that the Yobe state government is set to boost the health and wealth of the people of the state. Mustafa Yusuf Musa tells us that the state government has taken delivery of billions of naira worth of state-of-the-art medical equipment and supplies from the US-based medical charity World Medical Relief and the government of the United Kingdom through the Department for International Development, DFID. Mustafa, let's have a look.
The state-of-the-art medical equipment worth billions of naira donated to the state government by US-based World Medical Relief and the United Kingdom Department for International Development came on the heels of giant strides recorded in the healthcare sector over the years. At the Primary Healthcare Management Board Multipurpose Medical Store, Governor Ibrahim Gaidam was briefed by the Commissioner of Health, Dr. Mohammed Belkawa, on the medical facilities received from the US-based Medical World Relief. The United Kingdom Department for International Development, through maternal, newborn, and child health, provided medical facilities for use to improve healthcare delivery in hospitals across the state. Governor Ibrahim Gaidam expressed gratitude to the donor agencies for contributing positively toward the betterment of healthcare sector in the state.
We have made all our obligations, and happily now they have transported and brought down 5 OTP containers. According to the Commissioner, the other 3 are on their way coming. The 2 are on the high seat. I think we have to commend them for their kind gesture.
The governor directed that the Ministry of Health should immediately commence the distribution of the items to hospitals across the state. Mr. Kakagana Mustafa, who spoke on behalf of the maternal, newborn, and child health 2, State Team Leader Zanna Umar Ali, said the program was designed to strengthen primary health care interventions in the state and in 5 other states across the country. In Dematru, I am Mustafa Yusuf Musa, NTA News.
In the meantime, access to affordable health care as one of the basic human needs has remained a challenge, especially among the less privileged in Nigeria. In order to close the gap, A group of Nigerian traders known as President Muhammadu Buhari Traders has commenced free medical outreach for traders across the country. Political correspondent Saliu Abdullahi was in Kuje, where he witnessed the flag-off.
The Nigerian Traders Medical Outreach for President Muhammadu Buhari said 1,000 traders in each market are targeted to benefit from their free medical exercise. Apart from the major markets across the 6 area councils in Abuja, 2 major markets in each state across the country will benefit from the gesture.
If you go to hospitals, you know how much they will charge you. But with all this thing, they gave you these drugs free of charge. I mean, it's very nice.
So I've collected the medicine. As our president remember us, may God also remember him.
And we pray and ask the good Lord that have initiated this in them to continue the good work. 2019, by His grace, is for him.
We have a team of medical professionals, opticians, doctors, denticians.
The exercise covers free eye and blood sugar tests, as well as treatment for malaria, cough, and cold.
You may call it the season of traders. From trader money to market money. Now, Nigerian traders for President Muhammadu Buhari is medical outreach here in Kuje to sensitize the market women on the importance of peaceful conduct in the forthcoming general elections.
For them not to sell their vote, for them to hold their PVC close to them, and to vote the government that is fighting corruption, that is providing infrastructure, and the government that is securing the lives and properties of Nigerians.
From Kuje Area Council in Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Human trafficking. Serious matter, no doubt. No wonder the church is partnering government on ways of combating the menace. Plus, a peep into the increasing cases of child abuse and molestation.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks. So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You're welcome back. It's good to know you're still out there watching News Extra. Now, for every generation in every century, there is a common challenge that befalls the period and the people. For the 21st century, trafficking in persons has become the albatross and a phenomenon with serious implications to the life of victims and the economy. To address this challenge, a strong collaboration between the church and government to provide a workable solution is on the table as Santa Marta Group is holding the first Africa Regional Conference in Abuja. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed brings to you the pulse of participants at the conference.
The Santa Marta Group under the Catholic Church has a strong message this time around, not about the daily prayers and evangelism, but waging war against trafficking in persons in Africa, where the best brains of productive youths are daily trafficked into slavery and hard labor in Europe. To pass this message, a rally by the group and the government with the theme "Working Together to Restore the Dignity to Trafficked Person" is being organized for the first time in Africa, with a litmus test livelihood center in Edo State as the guinea pig in the rehabilitation of victims.
Our idea is that this is an area where the church and the state should collaborate. When they collaborate, they are more effective in dealing with the problem of human trafficking.
In the words of the organizer, when you teach the victim of human trafficking to fish in order to earn a living, instead of giving him fish, his hunger for traveling abroad for greener pasture will be quenched for good.
It is actually the church and the state working together to combat human trafficking, not just in Nigeria but around the world. So,
the purpose of this conference is to enabling Africans, beginning from Nigerians, to begin to look inward as to how we can address the issue of trafficking.
While to experts in combating the menace, there is limit to what individual or government alone can do. That's why two heads are better than one in bringing human trafficking to its knees in Africa.
The idea is to build a strong partnership. The idea is to support activities beyond where government is, beyond what government is doing, because human trafficking is a serious crime that requires the whole of society and whole of government. So every hand must be on deck, and the Catholic Church, I must say, is doing so much.
The issue of human trafficking is a multidimensional challenge, and according to the Church, the only way to tackle it is when government and other agencies collaborate to tackle the issue of human trafficking, which is not just a cost to humanity, but a threat to the economy. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
Now, children are seen as blessings not only to their immediate families, but to the society. And as such, they should be nurtured with care into adulthood. However, cases of sexual molestation, particularly relating to the abuse of minors in the society, are regrettably on the increase, judging from recent reports in the media. This trend, no doubt, is a source of concern for many as to what becomes the fate of unsuspecting victims. In this next report, Blessing Omeche Ebute examines the trend and efforts by various stakeholders to stem the tide.
Child sexual abuse or child molestation are forms of abuses in which an adult uses a child for sexual desires. The United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, reports that 1 in 4 girls are abused sexually, while 1 out of 10 of her male counterparts experience some form of sexual abuse in Nigeria, with only 5% of these cases reported.
From the above scenarios, stakeholders are of the opinion that it poses both social and psychological consequences on the victim in both short and long term, a situation they say deserves urgent attention.
As a society, we owe them some form of support, and what we do is to offer counseling services, trauma healing services to these kind of people.
According to data obtained from the police family unit in Benue State, a total of 28 cases of rape were treated and arraigned in court for prosecution between January and June 2018. One of the prominent is that of the 13-year-old Ochanya Ogbanje, allegedly raped by her uncle and his son, who later died from some health complications. The case of Ochanya is one among many others, as it has sparked off renewed awareness on the need to speak up concerning sexual molestation.
After the death of Ochanya, FIDA went back to the police and said, well, initially we were looking at rape. We're looking at defilement of a minor. But now the girl is gone. We want to amend the charge, make it culpable homicide.
Get this evidence, and then also we go ahead to take samples, blood samples and other relevant samples. Why? To protect, one, to establish the diagnosis, and also to for follow-up. For follow-up in terms of things like sexually transmitted diseases.
In a bid to curb the menace of sexual abuse of minors in Benue State, a domestic violence and rape response team has been set up, made up of the International Federation of Women Lawyers FIDA, Medical Women Association, and Coalition of Civil Societies, with the mandate of bringing perpetrators to book.
Now, we have a child's rights law in Benue. What remains to be done is the implementation of the law.
It is expected that, with increased sensitization and renewed consciousness about sexual abuse, the rate of occurrence and stigmatization will reduce, and victims of this abuse have confidence to share their experience for proper actions. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
A developing country such as Nigeria has a lot to gain from a globalized information system, as well as much to contribute to the world as one of the largest in Africa and south of the Sahara. Timothy Yusuf reports that the Association of Women Librarians in Nigeria is one of the latest groups of Nigerians taking up this challenge.
Cordelia Adikwe, a principal librarian, has worked for more than 30 years in the library of the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. She believes that in as much as she would want to be informed about the world, she would also want to inform the world about her worth, especially in contributing to national development.
Gender is not an excuse. That you are married is not an excuse. That you have children is not an excuse not to be at the top of your profession. So you have to put in extra time and do your best.
The two-way traffic of information sharing for national development is the reason for this convergence of women librarians from across the country. As the traditional custodian of information, librarians in the 21st century need to be aware of these significant changes and as such employ their technological know-how and intellectual masterpiece in order to retain the leading role of the library information needs.
Many of the librarians have been taken out to do website design. So it's not just librarians and books alone. The book is just one way of getting information. In many areas, we provide information through the internet.
Apart from the physical books, the library itself has moved to acquire what is called the e-library or the virtual library, so that people do not have to have physical contact with the library itself to be able to access the materials that we stock in the library. So the library itself has moved ahead.
Cordelia Adiku and co-participants are optimistic that the knowledge acquired from this workshop will arm them with competent skills that will enhance the provision of effective library services to meet clients' changing information needs independently. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Governor Solomon Lalong has assured the people of Plateau State of safe return of all internally displaced persons, as government has put in place measures to ensure their resettlement. He gave the assurance while receiving the committee report on the resettlement of IDPs in the state. Correspondent Paul Dama has that report.
The report, which is in 4 volumes, is made up of the main reports, the report from the Birom community, report from the Fulani community, and that of the internally displaced persons. Governor Simon Lalong, who highlighted some strategic initiatives by government at engendering peace and security, said the establishment of the 205 Combat and Rescue Unit in Kerang, the Mobile Police Squadron in Shandam, and the recent approval for Barkin Ladi will not only prevent a recurrence, but also fast-track the resettlement of IDPs.
I also gave assurance that there will be no land grabbing and that all displaced persons will be resettled and rehabilitated in their original places of abode.
Chairman of the 7-man committee, Air Vice Marshal Balad Mbaba, retired, said a total of 55 memoranda were received from the affected communities.
It has attained a total of 59,008 affected persons in 5 local government areas, of which, out of this, a total of 1,891 persons were said to have lost their lives.
Part of recommendations of the committee include putting in place adequate security measures to ensure a safe return of IDPs to their original places of abode, and also setting up of a victims support program and helping to improve dialogue among communities. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
Governor Simon Lalong there. Now, sports and Thursday's weather forecast will be wrapping up this package after these messages. Join us again.
Brought us as usual.
As usual. You have no problem.
For the three put
you are welcome, sir.
As usual, yeah? I was
you take that one. You take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have? You don't have?
Join the rice revolution today.
no other rice that tastes like Nigerian rice. Are you sorry? That's the Nigerian rice we are talking about. Chocolate made in Nigerian rice. Healthy food. I'm going to bring Mrs. Bobo to come to chocolate rice of made in Nigeria here. And see how it are made.
Correct.
And how they are cook it.
Correct.
Homegrown rice are good for your health. It boosts our economy and give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is NTA News Extra. You're welcome back. In this last segment of the program, we begin with foreign news. Uche Ugochukwu is standing by to bring us highlights of stories making the rounds on the global scene.
African governments have been advised to do more to control meningitis, especially in the region that stretches from Senegal in the west to Ethiopia in the east. A paper published in the Lancet Neurology shows that while significant progress are made towards controlling the disease worldwide, the meningitis belt in sub-Saharan Africa is lagging behind. To bridge the gap, the Meningitis Research Foundation proposes the development of cheaper and more broad-based vaccines and the reduction in cost of diagnostic tests and treatments. From Libya comes the report that the country has slated between March and June 2019 as the new date for its general elections, abandoning the December 2018 date earlier reached by leaders in Paris with the support of the French government. Libya's two main rival leaders met for the first time in more than 5 months in Sicily on Tuesday, and its prime minister endorsed a United Nations plan for an election next year. And Israeli Defense Minister resigned Wednesday in protest over a ceasefire reached with Gaza militants, which he termed surrender to terrorism. His resignation is seen as a major blow to Netanyahu's coalition government and has sparked immediate calls for early elections. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Thank you, Uche Ugochukwu. And sports news now. Super Eagles to depart for South Africa Thursday from Benin Airport for AFCON qualifier in Soweto, Johannesburg. Rogers Federer still chasing a 100th career title in London. Details of this and more with Amanzi Marcus on Sports Update.